Hello guys, welcome back. And today we're going to be doing a request from my comment section from Canada Boy to do the what if the French Empire came back today. So now I will draw the French Empire from the best of my knowledge. Tell me if I get anything wrong in the comment section below. It will be blue. Oh, well, that's purple. And if you're wondering what software I use Paint and Paint 3D. I use Microsoft Paint for my videos. So if you ever want to make one of the videos like mine, you can use Paint 3D or Paint. I like to use Paint 3D right now, but I love to use Paint as well. There's also French Syria, French Algeria, French Tunisia, and then there's French Senegal, Gambia, Mali, Mauritania, Niger, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast, Chad, and then there's also Gabon, Congo, Cameroon. I have a map pulled up of the French Empire next to me because I really don't know much about the French Empire. So I have to look it up while I'm doing this. We have Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. Here's the French. I gotta include French Guiana since they are modern day French territory. I think there's also a French Madagascar. Let me check. My map. Make sure if I'm right. Let's see. Yeah, Madagascar was actually French. There's also French Comoros and Mauritius and stuff, but I mean, those are so small you can't really draw on them. And here is what a reunited French Empire would look like. A reunited French Empire would look like this. I know it didn't look like much, but I mean, it's still cool compared to the British Empire. And all today, I'm gonna keep making videos, not all day, until lunch, because I do homeschooling and I have a rule where I don't start till 12, so I have free time until lunch. So I can just make videos or something if I wanted to. I'll make them in the next few hours of these Empire videos because I think they're actually a good idea. Next, there will be the empires that will be shown up will be the Russian, Portuguese, Spanish, German, American. Did I already say Spanish? Yes, I think it said Spanish. Italian. There's no Turkish Empire, so I mean there kind of was, but I mean there also kind of wasn't. So, and I'm not gonna do the Japanese Empire since that's mostly a lot of islands in the middle of the ocean that are too small to draw on. And I won't do the Brazilian Empire either, since they literally had less land than they have now. So that would kind of be pointless. I think there was also a French Haiti at some point. At some point there was a French Haiti? I don't really know. Let me check my map. On this map they're independent, but I mean there was a French Haiti and French Dominican Republic at some point. At some point in time. Those were part of the French Empire at some time. I'm not gonna do the French American land because that'll be cutting a country in the middle, and that would kind of be weird. Be cutting a country in half. I think there might have been a French Iraq or a French Jordan or a French Lebanon. I think there was a French Lebanon, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section if there was a French Iraq or French Jordan, because I really don't know. My map doesn't say it, but I mean, it could have been from an older time. And also Djibouti, I think. Let me, I always loved the name of that country. It's always so funny. Djibouti. That is always so funny. And this is what a French Empire would look like reunited. Now let's get on to the actual like war scenarios and all that kind of stuff. All that good stuff. So what's gonna happen is that the French Empire want to gain all the countries inside their borders. First, they'll probably take over They'll try to take over Gambia, considering it's literally inside their borders. Next up, I think I'm gonna, just like the British, I'm gonna make it so they're one country, not separated like departments or anything. Just so it's easier to actually see it. See the big picture of all of the colonies. Yeah, so they don't look like they're not part of the same country, they're just one color. Now, I'll do Laos and Vietnam. I'll get really small on the marker. There we go. Let me just also get these. There we go. There we go. Now that the French Empire actually looks united, we can continue. The next country that would probably be taken over by France would be Equatorial Guinea. Being right in between all the countries. I bet immediately Equatorial Guinea would surrender. Because like they couldn't compete with the French Empire. Like they cannot compete. And I also just got word that the CAF was Central African Republic was also part of the French Empire. I should have checked that before making the video. Ugh. I don't know why I never do my research. Because I already know a lot about geography. I'm just not sure about some empires, like the French Empire. I never really knew very much about it. Like, I was good with most other empires except for the French. I just never learned very much about it. I learned more about the British Empire than I did the French. So I wasn't too keen on how to do this. Next up, they would probably all surrender except for Liberia, but then the French Empire would attack Guinea-Bissau, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. I think Liberia was the only country that would actually fight back. So, yeah, that's something. And they would immediately surrender to French troops and become part of France. Next up, Liberia would probably try to fight back against the French Empire if they were to do it. So that would be something. And then next, what would happen would be like that the French Empire would try to colonize Suriname and Guyana, but immediately, I think France would try not to get involved in South America because like Like I feel like their little French colony right here couldn't fight back against like Brazil or something if they could declare war for declaring war on Suriname or something. And then Western Sahara would probably immediately surrender to France because like I don't think Western Sahara has a pretty good military because of they're not like most countries don't recognize Western Sahara. Like the US doesn't. I feel like a lot of countries except for the US do recognize the independence of Western Sahara. It's only because we have good relations with Morocco, and for we had a trade for recognizing Israel, Morocco, for us not recognizing Western Sahara, which I really thought that is actually kind of a good deal and also kind of a bad deal. I mean, like Israel gets recognition, but I mean, they don't really get that much. So now I think it would be a good time to check it back up on Liberia. Liberia would still probably keep fighting even if they're really low, but eventually they would be destroyed because of the superior French military. And then Nigeria would start to be attacked through their northern borders, start to be attacked, and then along their southern and in the borders of where they used to border Cameroon and where they used to border Niger are now sinking in. It's now that the French Empire has built a wall from Benin to Nigeria. Benin quickly falls, is not being able to trade anymore. Like, I don't think they're dependent on trade. I'm just saying, like, it'd be pretty hard for them to trade if they needed to. Next, Togo and Ghana would probably surrender to France because of, they being surrounded. And now that Nigeria is much smaller, it would be easier for France to take them out. And I don't know much about the African military or anything, so I'm not really too keen on how strong they would be. And right now, Nigeria's capital would be around right here, would be where Nigeria's capital is. So if France took that, they would probably surrender. It's crazy, even how far I dig deep into Nigeria, they still kind of look the same. Oh, it kind of looks like Ethiopia or a YouTube play button. Speaking of play button, I don't know what I just said. I was about to do that weird thing where people say like you haven't subscribed or something, but I mean I really don't do that. I was trying to be funny. Oh, that was hilarious. I don't know why I even tried doing that. Next up would be Belgium. Would probably be their next victim. But then Luxembourg first. Now they've invaded Belgium, taken the capital, and Belgium is now surrendered. And then they attack Italy, but not mainland Italy, but Sicilia. I think it's all Sicilia or something. I don't know. No, that's Corsica, that's Sicily. I don't really know. And next up, they would attack. They probably attack some other foreign countries around them, like the Netherlands. And the Netherlands actually do border France, but now they would border them 2 times because on that one island, they share that island, that one in the Caribbean. Next up, they would probably attack Cuba, considering it's very, very close to their claims. So they would probably attack Cuba. I would put Jamaica on. I would put Jamaica on the attack list, but Jamaica's not even on this map. I don't know why the maps don't never do. I don't know why. They don't ever include Jamaica. Like Jamaica is like never included. It's like just it could be like right there. It's like really it's like Puerto Rico size, and you can't even put it on a map. Like it's really kind of weird that they would literally leave off one of the biggest islands in the Caribbean. I think it's like the third or fourth biggest island in the Caribbean. So it would be kind of weird to not leave, to take it off the map. Sorry, I just shook my head. There's a hair in my eye. Okay, so what would happen is the French would probably take out Cuba and probably the Bahamas. So that would happen. And then the French would probably make landings on all of the Caribbean islands, easily taking them out because they have really small armies. They probably have really small armies, or not even armies at all, and probably have a smaller population. But then they would get to Trinidad and Tobago, where they would have to actually fight like a really big war to take them out. Next up, they would be attacking the United States' I wouldn't call it a colony, but I mean it's kind of just like a territory. Yeah, it's territory. But then that would kind of make U.S. in a war with France, considering that is their most important territory of them all. It's like their most important and most populous territory. So they would. What is that outside my window? What is that? Just give me a second, ladies and gentlemen. There's something outside my window. Oh, it's just a truck. Just a really big truck. And then probably what they would do is make a landing in the Florida Keys, even though it's not on the map, and make a landing in southern Florida. And now that that has happened, the U.S. would go into full war mode, which would be really bad for France because of the U.S. has has like one of the, I think it's like either one of the strongest or the strongest military in the world. So it'd be almost unbeatable by any foreign power. The U.S. quickly takes back Florida and the Everglades, which I don't even know how France would trek that area because it's the Everglades. The Everglades are really hard to trek because they're a bunch of like swamps and a national park. But then they would quickly take France out of the Bahamas and start invading Cuba. I don't know what France would do at this point. No, they would probably surrender. They not surrender entirely, but I mean surrender what the U.S. had captured. They would surrender that land to the U.S. for exchange for letting them live. The U.S. would say yes, and then they could live. And now I'm gonna see what would happen if they tried to take over Jordan. I think that Jordan would probably lose to France if they tried to colonize it. So I think they would easily be able to colonize all of Jordan if they wanted to. I think like they have to, but I mean they could if they wanted to. Next up would probably trying to get some trading ports, which would take over important trading islands like Hong Kong, South Korea. I know South Korea is an island, but I mean, they're good for trade. Japan would be good for trade, but they only took like the main island. And probably Kuwait and Qatar. I bet those would be pretty good trading ports, along with taking over Istanbul, but I mean, that would be pretty hard, since Istanbul's only been taken over once. I guess they would rather take Cyprus than try to fight Turkey, which is a NATO member, would get the US and all of NATO involved. No, France is a part of NATO, but I guess they would leave NATO in this scenario. Yeah. Next up, they would probably make a really bad mistake and try to attack Germany. As Germany would fight France, it'd be really hard for anyone to win this scenario. I already did a war with Germany thing on my channel. You can check that out. It's not going to be in the link in the description or anything, but I mean, it was one of my recent videos, so you can check that out if you want to. And now that they had taken out some of Germany, like they've taken out their entire German border. Sorry, I had a yawn. And then what would probably happen is Germany would probably declare war on France for declaring war on Germany. After doing that, most all of the EU, since Germany is the founder of the EU, would probably all join in on this war. Probably most NATO members as well. So the US would be in a little bit of France would be in a little bit of a pickle. Since Georgia has close relations with NATO and trying to join NATO, I'll make them part of this war as well. Maybe Greece. Turkey wouldn't join because of bad relations with Greece. And then all of the EU would all join in on their side, along with Kosovo, because Kosovo is trying to get into the EU, and as they see Kosovo join the war, the US does as well. And then just to help, Brazil would join the war. And for support, Guyana and Suriname would also join the war. I don't know why, but they would just. Morocco would join the war, Spain, Portugal, the UK, Ireland. Switzerland would stay neutral, as always. San Marino would probably just join Italy. But then Serbia would probably join blue because they hate Kosovo, but I mean, they hate the US even more. This would probably escalate really quickly and become World War III, which would be really bad for everyone because it's World War III. Like, I don't think anyone would like World War III because like World War II and like World War I and II were terrible, but World War III would be even worse. But then all the African countries that are scared of becoming a French colony, just like all the others, would probably also join this war, just for the sake of not becoming French. They want to keep their independence. They don't want to become a French colony. And now that all of the countries have banded together, they actually could potentially defeat France with all of this. Then probably Iceland and Denmark would join this war. Norway probably would join the war I didn't really know much about Norway, so I just know like their native language and like Norwegian and Oslo and all that kind of stuff. I know like the provinces and stuff, but I don't know any like culture or diplomatic relationships with Norway. I don't know too much about that, so correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Then Canada, Mexico, and I bet since that happened, Venezuela would kind of just do this, and then like this would lead to like mass chaos in the world. Like the world would escalate quickly into mass chaos after joining a war that would probably last for decades. Of war. And now that that has happened, and as none of these countries want to be French colonies, they would all join this war. Even China, being China, like even though they have bad relations with the United States, they still don't want to become French. So, but then on the blue side, a lot of countries would join. North Korea, as the Japan can't really help it, but I mean, they would actually join the red side because they want to get their island back. India will also be joining on the red side, along with Bangladesh, probably Nepal and Bhutan as well, and Sri Lanka. And then probably Pakistan would join on the blue because they hate India. Even though they have close diplomatic relationship with the United States, but they hate India. And then I don't know, I just want to make Afghanistan join the red because I feel like they would want to repay us for helping them get the rebels out of their country. For us trying to help the rebels out of our country, they would probably owe us one, so. Then the blue would probably get all of the former Russian and Soviet countries, except for Georgia, which is already side with everyone else. Mongolia would probably just join on China's side. I don't know why, and this would escalate into World War III, which I'm not really prepared to start a whole World War III scenario. Even though I did it once on my channel, you can check that out. But for now, this is what I'm going to leave it off. And I actually have to, like, even though I have free time, I really only have 2 hours left of free time, so I'm not gonna be recording any Empire videos. Sorry I said that, but I mean, like, I need to like go eat breakfast or something because I haven't eaten anything yet except for some yogurt, and I'm really hungry. And I'm also probably gonna go. I gotta go organize Legos. I know that sounds kind of boring, but I mean I have to because they're all over the floor. And I'll see you guys next time. And thank Canada Boy for this suggestion. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what you thought or any mistakes I made in this video. I'll see you later. Radster out.